Hello everyone, welcome. I don't know what platforms this podcast is going to be on, but if you're new, well, you probably are new because this is my first podcast, but if you are here and you are listening, then hello, welcome to my podcast. My name is Jahan. You can call me G. I say that to people now because since I've started uni, a lot of people kind of just look at me like I'm an alien when I tell them what my name is. So I kind of shorten it and tell people that my name is G because it's a lot easier for people to remember. Also, I like to think that anyone who engages with any of my content is a friend of mine, so you can call me G. Hi. I've already said that this is my first podcast. I have done other podcasts with my friend, however, because of the lockdown, we've not been able to meet, so that's absolutely bloody amazing. We haven't been able to put podcast up in ages, and so I thought I would just start my own podcast because I've recently really enjoyed listening to podcasts. I like listening to Emma Chamberlain's one, Anything Goes. You should check it out if you don't know what that is. Literally on my way to uni, on my way back, it's so nice to listen to. Now, unlike Emma, who is naturally funny, I'm not. But like I am though, but like I'm not. I don't know. I kind of like, people sometimes tell me I'm funny, but I never believe them because I have anxiety. And I just overthink and just think that they are lying to me all the time. I don't edit these podcasts. I've decided that it's going to be too long for me to edit. And I'm just too lazy to edit as well. And I feel like you're going to see more of my personality come out if I don't edit. Because I do YouTube. I should probably mention that. I do YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then you should definitely subscribe to my channel. I mean, you don't have to, but I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, I wouldn't be mad. So, yeah, I do like reaction videos and stuff on there. So, you should check that out too. Okay, let's just actually start. So, let me just tell you guys a bit about myself. My name is Jahan. I'm 19. No, I'm not 19. I'm 20. I must sound like such an idiot. No, okay. So I turned 20 last week. It's the 3rd of November when I'm recording this. I turned 20 last week and I can't wrap my head around it because my teenagers have just gone. I don't know where they've gone, but they've somehow vanished and now I'm 20 and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I don't like it, but overall, I'm not sure how I feel because all I keep thinking about is that in 10 years, I'm going to be 30 and probably unmarried, without a family, single, loner with 300 cats. Not that there's anything wrong with cat women. It's just I don't want to be one, you know? As of right now, I mean, I am doing these podcasts so that in the future I can kind of look back on them and be like, oh yeah, this is what happened back in the past. Right now, it's coronavirus pandemic. It's a global pandemic. And I'm from the UK, if you couldn't tell from my accent. And we were on lockdown from March 2020 all the way... Oh, you can hear my laptop. I am truly sorry. Oh, let me just turn my laptop off real quick because I just feel like I keep making so much noise. So, it is the 3rd of November 2020 and the UK went on lockdown in March 2020 and we came out of lockdown, I think it was at the end of September. So we were on lockdown for 7 to 8 months. We had Ramadan and Eid during the lockdown and literally it was crazy. Summer holidays were weird. Boris Johnson caught corona and he still didn't put us on a tight lockdown. I personally don't understand why. I would have just shut down the country immediately. I don't know why. You would think that after catching corona you would take it a lot more seriously, but anyway, fast forward. We are now in November. It's the 3rd of November. And on the 5th of November, which is a Thursday, Boris Johnson has said that we are going on another national lockdown, which I think is absolutely rubbish because he's keeping schools, colleges, and universities open. And I don't know why, because students and children are the main spreaders and carriers of this. By the way, guys, listening to this, you're going to hear my true personality and different voices, the very weird side of me come out, because there's no camera on me, it's just a microphone. So you're really going to hear weird things in terms of my voice and stuff. I don't know. You'll see what I mean later on. I wanted to kind of talk about anxiety today, because I know that anxiety is a topic that a lot of people can relate to, especially teenagers and even adults, because apparently that's what I am now. I have quite bad anxiety. I've always had it. They picked it up when I was in year 2, and it was absolutely terrible. I didn't know what it was. Recently, it's gotten even worse, obviously, because of the pandemic, because of the lockdown. I wasn't going out, I wasn't socializing, and it was just really bad. And I enjoy my own company. I'm quite antisocial because I have anxiety. So I absolutely flipping loved it. I loved not going out because I never went out anyway. I did the lockdown, the big lockdown I'm talking about from March to September, didn't hit me until maybe July, August, because I never left the house unless it was to go to uni. And I got used to being home. So when the lockdown hit, it was kind of like my normal life, except I had no uni. That was the only difference. I know it sounds kind of sad, but it's true. And I know there's a lot of people who don't like leaving their houses, and I am one of them. This lockdown did create a lot of anxiety for people, especially when it was coming to an end. I will tell you some of my symptoms. Now, I just want to remind everyone, I am not a doctor, I am not a professional in this department, but I am someone who has anxiety, and my symptoms might not be the same as yours. Every person has a different symptom for anxiety. I'm going to tell you what mine are and tell you how I deal with it. Sometimes it's a lot harder, and there was a period of time where it got way worse, and I will get into that in this podcast. My anxiety has a couple of symptoms. The first one is that I feel very nauseous. I feel very sick, and sometimes if it's really bad, I feel really dizzy. I get really hot and sweaty. I shake a little bit, and I can't talk that much because I'm so anxious that I need to get out of the atmosphere, the environment that I'm in. Sometimes I will be out shopping and suddenly it will hit me. I don't have a trigger. I don't know what my trigger is. I know that one of my triggers is exams, but over the past 2 years, 2 years, I have struggled with it even more. It's gotten immensely worse. And I know it sounds kind of weird that, oh, a girl with anxiety has a YouTube channel and a TikTok and now a podcast. But honestly, I feel like because I film them all at home and my house is my safe spot, my anxiety doesn't really come, if that makes sense. It doesn't really get triggered by that. Which also brings me to another point. Make sure you guys have a safe place. Whether that safe place is with a person or whether that safe place is in your bedroom, in your kitchen, in your living room, find a safe place and make sure that you definitely feel safe in that place. My safe place would have to be my house and my bedroom. I like being in my bedroom. I like being in my house. It's my safe space. Strangers can't get to me. I don't have to socialize with anyone. I can go into the kitchen and eat as much food as I like and go on with my day without being bothered about anything. Obviously, my anxiety gets triggered a lot when I'm out of my house. I guess you could say it's social anxiety. I have had quite a bad experience with friends, but I feel like I should do a whole other podcast on friendships and my past friendships and kind of give you guys a little bit of tea if you guys would want that. A lot of people suffer from anxiety and sometimes they don't realize it's anxiety. there are different symptoms. I've given you mine. I shake, my heart races a lot. One thing I do when I feel anxious is I chew my lips. And it's really bad because all the skin on my lips get like cut and like peeled off. That sounds disgusting, but that's how I deal with it. Honestly, I feel this pandemic has immensely affected people with anxiety and depression and any other type of mental disorder or illness, whatever you would like to call it, because I feel like our generation, now I'm speaking about my generation especially because I feel like a lot of us can relate to this. I feel like our generation has been neglected a lot and there isn't enough help out there for us. We get piled with work, and I understand that being a kid, your only stress is supposed to be your assignments and like maybe a few others, but not like crazy amounts of stress. I don't know if that made sense, but we're not meant to be thinking about things that we should think about when we're adults. And when I mean adults, I mean when you're like 30 or 40. That kind of stress shouldn't be on us from now. And I feel that the government doesn't really help us. I wish they did. I wish there was more out there that would help us with anxiety, and unfortunately I feel like politicians only want to fill their pockets and neglect the youth and then blame us when we're retaliating. That sounded really weird. I apologize. I am someone who is more comfortable about talking about my anxiety. I never did, and I think at the beginning of the year, in fact in January, I told my mum that it got worse and she got it out of me. When I tell you guys that when I told my mum, I cried for about 5 hours and I was just kind of getting it out and telling her how I felt, and she kind of got it out of me, but I needed it and I'm glad that she did, and I'm getting better now. I will tell you now why my anxiety got a lot worse. So back in 2018, so a couple of years before then, my grandma got diagnosed with dementia. And at 15, I didn't really understand what that was. I knew it was an illness where people forget. I didn't know how bad it was. It's a killer. And I didn't realize that at the time because I was just too young to understand. Fast forward to 2017, my grandma kept ending up in hospital and it kind of became like a normal thing to me. I didn't think much of it. September of 2017, oh, by the way, I know you guys might think it's a bit weird that I know all the dates, but it's really because it's significant to me, which is why I remember it. It's kind of like when someone tells you an important date, it kind of just gets embedded in you, if that makes sense. So September 2017, I wanted to go to college. I wanted to move to a college. I didn't get the grade that I wanted. I had to retake one of my exams, and so I went to the college, and low-key I kind of think they were a little bit racist because they saw my surname and they were just like, nope, we can't take you. But anyway, they kind of like rejected me the first time, and so I went back to school. I went back to the secondary school where I was bullied multiple times, but let's just not talk about that. I went back to my secondary school. I ended up going to sixth form, literally the worst time of my life. My teacher was such a bully, literally. I can talk about my teachers there, and I don't think I can get in trouble because I'm not mentioning names, so they can't really do anything about it. And if they hear this and they don't like that I'm talking about them, you can't do anything because I've not mentioned names, so legally you can't do anything about it. So this is me being the exposer that I am. Anyway, so 2017 I ended up going to sixth form. Sixth form I did a course, and let me just say that I liked the subject. I didn't like the teacher. I didn't get along with the teacher. She was such a bully. I want to call her a name, but I'm not allowed. So you can fill in the gap. She was such a beep. Okay, so that's what she was. Never used to let us talk in class. Used to pick on us. She made almost all the girls cry. in the class, she never made me cry. I never cried to her face. I went home and cried. But she was just all out. She was completely out of control. Now, sorry, I'm like just shifting position. My legs got pins and needles. She was honestly the worst teacher I think I've ever had in all of my years of education. This teacher was the worst. I got mini anxiety attacks just walking into the classroom. Just hearing her name or doing her assignments used to give me major anxiety, and that's how you know that you're not doing your job well, because you're giving your students major anxiety, which you shouldn't be doing. School should be a safe place for students, and I felt anything but safe. So this teacher was giving me a hard time, and it was so bad. In January of 2018, so this is like, I've only been in school in sixth form for about 3 to 4 months now, literally having the worst time of my life. I dropped down in clothing size. Now, I'm pretty slim. I'm a size 6 in UK clothing. I dropped down 2 more sizes, so you can only imagine how much more weight I had lost. I wasn't sleeping because my teacher thought it would be funny to set us a deadline, threaten us if we didn't have it done on time, and then on the day it was due would tell us that, oh, it's okay, just hand it in next lesson, after I've stayed up till 4 a.m. trying to do this assignment for this crazy woman. So obviously my anxiety wasn't the best, my mental health overall and my physical health wasn't the best. I wasn't having a good time in sixth form, and honestly, I was having such a bad time that I just decided to move. And I've never transferred schools or anything. This was the very first time. For those of you who are outside of the UK, sixth form is like years 12 and 13 in secondary school, or what you guys might know as high school. And you can also do years 12 and 13 in a college. I know that in the US, college and uni are 2 different things for some reason. I mean, they're the same thing for some reason. I don't know what that's all about. But college is from ages 16, if you get kicked out of school, from 16 and above. But if you're there for sixth form or like A levels, then it's from ages 17 and above, depending on how long your course is. So there you go. My grandma ended up going into hospital in early January. I think it was on the 11th of January she went in, 2018. And I was having such I don't know how to explain it. My world was falling apart. I was losing my friends. I could see them becoming distant from me. At the same time, my grandma was basically dying, and I was having a hard time dealing with it. My dad was living abroad because my dad works abroad, and so it was kind of like everyone was moving away from me and leaving me. So it was really difficult, and obviously I'm someone who doesn't share their feelings. I feel very icky sharing my business with other people, so I tend to keep things in. My grandma was basically on her deathbed, and that was really difficult for me to take in. I'm getting emotional speaking about it. Give me a minute. So my grandma was a very lovely woman, and it was very hard for my family and I to swallow that pill that my grandma was gonna die soon. So picture this: losing my grandma, dad works abroad, living in between 3 places because of my dad's place abroad. So living in between 3 places, having a really hard time at sixth form with my teacher, and losing my friends all at the same time. At 17, I think that's a pretty difficult thing to handle, especially when you're not opening up and telling people about it. I really did struggle a lot, and I look back now and just think to myself that it's crazy that I kind of went through that, and I did come out a stronger person. But I lost a lot of things in that process. I'm not saying you need to lose a family member to become a stronger person, by the way. Absolutely not saying that at all. I'm just saying that this is what happened in my life, and this is why I'm kind of the way I am now. I don't want any type of pity or sympathy from anyone, because this is my story and I'm okay now. You know, I kind of fought through it. I had my family with me, didn't have any friends. So let's just get on to that. My grandma, we get told that she's got this many days left, she's got a week left to live. That was very, very difficult. That was so difficult. I remember when my mum told us, I kept it in. I didn't want to cry because I knew that it would be hard on my mum. Losing any type of parent, especially a mum, is difficult at any age. And I will never wish that anyone ever lost their parents. I really struggled a lot. I keep saying that, but I did. I struggled a lot. It was difficult in a way because I had no friends that I could talk to. And losing my friends was really hard as well. Because at a time where you need your family and your friends around you, they weren't there. And when I told my mom I wanted to transfer, my mom was like, yep, do it. I did the interview. I ended up getting into the college I wanted to, which was absolutely great. I cried of joy all the way home. I couldn't believe that I had got in because I thought I was going to be stuck in that hellhole for another year. And I know it doesn't seem like a lot for some of you guys, but a year with that crazy bloody woman, like, it's just too long of a year. And I knew that there would be nothing left of me by the time I came out of that horrible sixth form. Moving to college in that time between summer holidays, between leaving sixth form and summer holidays, it was really hard because I had no one. I had no friends at all. And I know a lot of people are always like, oh, I have no friends, but I had no one. My friends weren't talking to me. And it was always really difficult because I was like, I'll give them a deadline. I know it sounds horrible. I was like, I'll give them a deadline. If they don't text me by this day, I'm just going to block them on everything. Because do you know what? I don't know why I'm making myself upset for people who clearly don't want me in their life. Why am I upsetting myself and forcing myself to be sad over these people that don't really care about me? And it hurt me the most because I was friends with one of the girls since like year 8. She knows who she is. If you're watching this, hello, we're friends again. But it was just really hard at the time. And moving to a college as well, going from a sixth form that had 1,000 people to a college that had 10,000 people, and having anxiety wasn't an easy move. I've never been a new girl in my life, and it was really, really difficult for me to kind of go in. Of course, I was excited because I was like, this is a new chapter of my life. I'm going to make new friends. That was really difficult because I'm not much of a social person. The people in my class at college were absolutely lovely, and I still love them. I have love for them. I mean, they didn't have to be nice to me, but they chose to be, so I appreciate that a lot. And I do talk to some of them now. Not like on an everyday, we're not like besties, but every now and then, like, something good happens to one of them or to me, them, and just like, oh, happy birthday, oh, congratulations, or something, you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's a civil friendship. I honestly just think it's incredibly difficult for anyone, especially with people who have mental health issues like depression and anxiety. It's difficult for us to socialize and get out there and be in a good mood because we're safe in our own company. You know what I mean? I love being alone. I love being by myself. And that year where I had no friends was difficult, but it made me so independent. I would go out, I would have lunch by myself. That sounds really sad, but I promise you it wasn't. It was hard. I would have my days where I would feel really, really upset. Not depressed. I know a lot of people feel sad and then they think it's depression, but it's not. It's just they're having a bad day. So I would have my bad days where I would feel really, really down. Don't forget that I'd be grieving as well because I'd lost my grandma in the January. Oh yeah, I didn't say that. My grandma went into hospital in January and she also passed away in January. So that was my first major death in the family of someone that I was close to. So that was really difficult. That hit me really, really hard. So that didn't help my anxiety either. The way I deal with my anxiety, I'm aware that I'm talking a lot and I do apologize, but this is a podcast. And I promise you that my podcasts will get better. It's just that it's my first one and I'm rambling a lot because I have no notes. This is not scripted, which is why I keep hesitating so much. And I really do apologize. That's the other thing I do. I keep apologizing. And I feel like I'm sorry that I keep up. Did I really just say that? I do apologize for apologizing a lot. I just can't help it. It's just me. I'm always apologizing. You could walk into me and I'd apologize to you. So yeah, so I'm really sorry for apologizing a lot. I recently had really bad anxiety. I've never had a panic attack, which I think I'm very grateful for and very lucky. I've never experienced it. But I have had cases where I guess I'm almost going to have a panic attack, but I kind of stop myself from it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I have this technique, which some of you guys may know. It's like a box technique. So you take your finger and in the air you kind of draw a square, but on each line you take a deep breath in and a deep breath out as you're drawing the square. So if you've got a line going down, you take a deep breath in, and then to the right you breathe out, and then up, and then side, and it helps a lot. That's when you struggle to breathe. I also have this method that I feel like some people might know. I don't know if everyone knows it, but it's called the 5-4-3-2-1 coping technique. You have to, I know it's hard when you're in the middle of an anxiety attack or you're about to have one. You got to just calm yourself down completely. And you basically just, you use your senses. I've set this up as my wallpaper. And what I'll do is I'll use the same picture in the background of this podcast so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. So you acknowledge 5 things that you can see around you. I'm in my bedroom right now. 5 things I can see would be my microphone, my iPad, my bed sheets, my mirror, my sister's bed, and my bed. Oh well, that's 6 things. So clearly I can't count. Anyway, then you acknowledge 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear around you. I can't hear anything at the moment. I can only really hear my own voice because I've got the headphones on. But you acknowledge 3 things you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste that's around you. I used this technique recently, maybe about 2 weeks ago. I used it when I was in uni. I was in class and I had really terrible anxiety. I ended up leaving class early. And I used this technique and it did really help. This technique is a godsend. I'm glad that I learned about this technique. It definitely helps. When I was in year 11, I had exam anxiety, which I do get now. That's basically when you get anxiety around exam time and exam season. And my teachers picked up that my exam grades were always lower than the work that I would produce in class. And so they gave me this extra help. And one thing I learned was about these NATs. NATs stand for negative automatic thoughts. These negative automatic thoughts occur when we're overthinking a lot. And just in general, you might have negative automatic thoughts without even realizing that you've got them. You might look at yourself in the reflection and just think, oh my god, I'm so ugly. I'm guilty of doing that. And the trick is to turn those negative automatic thoughts into pats, into positive automatic thoughts. So instead of I don't know, if you wake up one day and you just think, oh my God, I've got an exam, I'm going to do so badly, you have to change that to, oh my God, I've got an exam, I'm going to try my best. Also, you can hear a plane going over my house, and I do apologise once again. So, yeah, so pats. You turn those gnats into pats and put your mindset in a more positive place. Guys, I know it's difficult. I know that it's really hard to maintain a really positive mindset, especially in this circumstance with the flipping coronavirus pandemic. I know that it's really hard, but honestly, if you start today, you're one step closer to overcoming and being able to control your anxiety. That's the most important thing, that you are in control of your anxiety. Don't let your anxiety control you. God, how long have we got? Wow, I've been recording for 32 minutes. I'm gonna begin to let you guys go. I don't want to make this podcast really long because I feel like no one will listen to it. Let me know if you guys want me to talk more about anxiety. Tell me your anxiety stories if you want to, or tell me your ways of dealing with it, because I might have given you a technique that helps you, and there might be someone out there who needs a new technique because theirs aren't helping them. So definitely do make sure that you tell people what your techniques are. I want to quickly apologize again. I'm sorry. I keep saying sorry, and I'm sorry that I keep saying sorry so much, but I can't help it. It's me. I always think I'm doing something wrong. Does anyone ever hang out with like this group of friends and the whole time you just think that those people don't like you? Because I have that right now. I feel like my friends don't really like me. They're just being nice to me and hanging out with me because they feel sorry for me. Is that for anyone else? Because I genuinely feel like my friends don't like me. That could just be me. That could just be a me problem. But I'll sort that out. Maybe. I don't know. I'm too lazy. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I think I'm going to end this podcast the same way I end my videos. Remember to, I don't know what platforms this podcast is going to be on. So follow and subscribe. And if you can comment on whatever platform this podcast ends up on, then comment your rituals, I guess we can call them, or your methods of how you can control and maintain your anxiety. I just remembered I use Tic Tacs, the mint ones, and they instantly sedate me. I don't know what's in them, but I start feeling nauseous and really, really anxious, and I just put 2 in my mouth and I instantly calm down. I think it's because my mind gets distracted with the fact that there's something in my mouth. I don't know. I'm gonna let you all go now. Thank you so much for listening. That sounded truly sarcastic. Sorry. I hope you do genuinely enjoy this podcast. There will be more, even if you don't listen to them, because I know I'm going to force my future kids to listen to them. So don't worry. I hope you guys did learn something about anxiety if you don't have anxiety. And if you don't have anxiety, then I am very jealous of you. But to those of you who have got anxiety, you guys can do it. To those of you who have got depression, you guys are more than loved. You guys are more than appreciated. And hopefully, I want this to become a safe platform for people with mental health, because I know that sometimes it feels like you don't have anyone, and a lot of the times telling someone that you don't know and that doesn't know you, it really does help. It really does help. So my social medias are basically Jehan.m on Instagram. That's JEEHAN.m for mama. And I don't know why I said mama, that was so random. And you can DM me on there if you ever need to talk to someone. And yeah, so I hope you guys are having or have a wonderful and amazing morning, night, evening, afternoon, or day, wherever you are in the world, because you deserve it. And I hope to see you guys whenever I next put another podcast up. Okay, well, good night, guys. It's evening here. It's 9 p.m. here. So good night from me. And yeah, bye guys.